in high school, and I think middle school is when I started butting heads with teachers. And like I said in the song, like I don't belong in a class full of teachers. We don't get along. And because I remember a lot of times, like we wouldn't see eye to eye. And I think one of the biggest times was I think it was math. No, maybe it wasn't math. I don't remember the topic. But we were in class, whatever. And like, I don't know, a couple months passed by, and then they would have like parent teacher conference, whatever, randomly. And the teacher told my mom that I didn't do anything. All I did was sleep every day, which was a lie. All I did was talk. I did talk, and maybe I did sleep, but just not every day. Like, don't lie, you know? It was probably like once in a while. And I remember like her putting me on blast because randomly she's like, I don't think your mom would like to hear that you still talking in class, when I was talking to the person beside me. And saying it like how she said it and singling me out, I didn't like that. And I was like, I don't remember what I told her, but I told her like, I don't like how you're talking to me or something like that. And I told her, but like, I don't even want to be here. And she's like, well, if you don't want to be here, like, what are you doing here? And I said, I'll leave then. And I got up and I left. And on my way out, she had got me upset, and everybody already had the whole class's attention. And I literally got so close to her. She was terrified. Like, you can see, she turned red just on my shift in, I wasn't going to do nothing. Just in my, I think, attitude change when she seen me. And I told her, and I told her, I don't remember word for word, but I told her, and I don't appreciate you lying to my mom too, telling her all these things about me that's not even true. And she was hella surprised. Like, and you could hear people. I remember a girl was like, I never seen Francisco like this, like that. Because I was known as the quiet kid. But like, I think a lot of people took my quietness for bitch made shit. And it was never like that, because whenever somebody pressed me, it was handled and people woke up. Oh shit, this motherfucker ain't who I think he is, like that. But I would just keep to myself. But a lot of times I had problems with teachers, and I would walk out of class a lot. Like, it got to the point in high school, I would go to class and then I would be like, I don't want to be here. And I would just grab my backpack and walk straight out.
Random class?
Yeah. I didn't care about the teacher. I didn't care about the principal. I didn't care about nothing. What are you going to do to me? I remember I sat down in computer class. I sat down and I just sat there and I was like, I don't even want to be here. Like, what am I going to gain? What am I learning? What am I doing? Nothing. So why am I here? What would I rather be doing? I don't know. Outside walking somewhere. I got up and my friend's like, where you going? Because you're sitting right next to me. I'm leaving. What do you mean? He's like, where you leaving where? You can't just leave. I said, yeah, I can. Watch me. I got on my bag and I left. And I would just walk out.
Of the whole campus?
No, school, yeah. Through the front doors. And like a lot of times nobody said anything. I remember I would have class, and my last class, like 15, 20 minutes prior, before the class ended, I would always say that I was going to there was a Hispanic like helper teacher.
It's like a counselor.
Yeah. And I would always say, hey, like, can I go over there now? Because my teacher was aware. So she knew that she helped a lot of the kids. So he's like, sure, you can go there. So I made it a thing. Every other, like, and sometimes I would go, but the majority of times I would just go home 20 minutes early. I would just leave.
So you were lying to the teacher?
Yeah, and then eventually he caught wind. And he didn't bring it up to me. He just said, no, you can't leave no more. No.
You're being a bad boy.
I remember one time, I said, I have to leave at 3 something or something like that. I have to leave. I told my teacher. And my teacher's like, you can't leave because we're doing this, whatever. And I was like, well, my mom told me I have to leave at this time. I have to leave. And she's like, well, we'll see. So she called that counselor because she knew that I was close to the counselor. The counselor knew me. And she called the counselor to call my mom because, or whatever, or talk. She told the counselor said, okay, I know his mom. Let me call her. She called her and then she called her back and told her, his mom said it's fine. That he could stay there. And she said, so you're going to stay because your mom said it's fine. You no longer have to go or you have to go. And I was like, no. My mom said I have to leave. So I'm leaving. And she said, well, you're not going to leave. If you leave, like basically telling me there's going to be consequences if you leave through that door. And I was like, well, I'm telling you right now that when it comes time, I'm walking out that door. And I did. I left.
She said, you ain't leaving that's on the block. Or what do people say?
On the set or what?
Yeah, that's on the set.
But all she did was give me detention. I remember when I walked out of that classroom, the teacher that I told her, I got right up in her face. I walked out of class and it was
Miss Schumacher.
And it was raining. And I walked by, and as I was walking by, the what was it? The vice principal? He passed by and he seen me. And he beeped. He went like beep beep, something like that. And I figured that meant, oh man, he's telling me to go back. And then I remember I'm like, whatever, let me go see what he wants then. Let me go see. I'm like, the jig is up, right? She snitched. He went out and looked for me, I guess. And he found me and then he beeped at me. So whatever. So I walked straight into his office. And I was like, you wanted to see me? And he's like, no. I was like, I just seen you on the road. Like, and you honked at me. He said, yeah, I seen you. He said, I seen you. And I was like, I mean, he's walking in the rain. If he wants to get wet, let him get wet. But like, I didn't call you. And he's like, why? What happened? And I was like, well, I walked out of my classroom. And he's like, I thought they told you that. He's like, why would you do that? I said, well, me and the teacher, and I explained the whole thing. And he's like, it's not, like, why would you, it doesn't make sense what you're doing. Like, it's not smart, whatever. And I told him, I'm not having a good day. And I said, if I'm not having a good day, I don't add anything to the classroom. If anything, I take away from it because I'm in a bad mood. So what's best? I chose to remove myself to allow the other kids to learn because I don't care. I don't want to be there. So I removed myself and allowed the other kids to learn because it's not the other kids' fault that I'm having a bad day. So I left. And he said, He said, wow. He said, you're smart. You're a smart kid. He's like, you're right. He's like, you're right. Makes sense. He's like, it makes sense to me. He's like, but you can't be leaving. He said, you can't be leaving. He said, they told me that I have to give you some sort of punishment. And I was like, well, and he said, well, just wait here in front of my dad, in front of my office until the next class. And then later on, I'll tell you whatever. And he just gave me 1 day detention. He's like, because I have to give you something. Is that cool? He told me. And I was like, yeah, I guess. So he gave me 1 day.
Detention was gay. And in-school suspension was even gayer.
I used to get cold lunches.
Nice.
Because...
what does that mean? Sandwich?
Cold-ass sandwich, a cold-ass apple and everything.
Oh, like from fresh out the fridge?
Yeah, straight out the fridge. They would give it to me. There was this girl. This was in middle school. There was a girl who was assigned to me. I don't know if it was like by my parents or something. Like, I don't know if it was like they okayed it. I don't know. But she helped people who were not doing good in class. So she helped me. And her way was like, if you don't got good grades and if they're not changing, you're going to get cold lunches every day. And I would get cold lunches every day. And everybody else would get warm food. And I wouldn't. Until one day I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to eat no more cold food. Like, I'm not doing that no more. Something my radar said, this is not right. This is not right. And I remember I brought it up to my mom, hey, I'm eating cold food every day. Like, what's going on? Every day.
So what are the other people eating then?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't going with them. When it was time for lunch, she would come and get me. we would walk together to the freezer, wherever the heck it was. I remember it was like a freezer, I don't know. And she would grab me one of those brown paper bags filled with like an apple and like some juice and a cold ass sandwich. All cold as hell. And then she would give it to me, and then I wouldn't be able to go to lunch. I would stay with her eating.
In the class?
In a room.
Oh.
And she said that's because whatever. And when my mom said, hey, you can't be I didn't know you were doing that. When you said you were going to help him, I didn't know you were being giving him cold lunches. And she's like, well, this is just like his punishment because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. And mom said, nah, that's not right. But it sucks because I'm the one who has to speak up, bro. So I'm getting cold lunches.
Yeah, it seems fucked up. It seems like, I don't know how you discipline a kid. I have no idea how you do that. I don't know what the correct way is, but it seems like food, like anytime you deprive someone of food, it just seems fucked up. Especially a kid. If you do it to an adult, it's who gives a fuck. But if you do it to a kid, it doesn't seem right. You're eating a sandwich, bitch. That's it. And you're eating it with me too.
I know.
Every day.
And I remember my friends would be like, what the heck? Why are you getting dragged off with a girl? Like, lunchtime. Giving you cold lunches. They're failing too. Like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't know. So, I mean, it just seems like that wasn't the move. Who approves this type of shit?
Nah, I think they're just pulling shit out.
I think I had a bad experience in my overall school when I think about it now and reflect on it. I had multiple shit. They tried to put me in special ed. They told me I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't pre-algebra. They said I couldn't read good. They said a bunch of shit about me.
Yeah, but was it true though?
Look at me now, ho. Nah.
Was it true though?
I got a podcast now. Huh? Is it true?
Because my reading was trash too.
Yeah, but it wasn't
my
true,
writing was trash.
But I remember having other people in the same classroom dumber than me.
And when you say dumber, what do you mean though?
Dumber statistically. When they would come to me and say, your reading level is this, your this is this and this, whenever they got some weird measurements that they would take by some random quiz, theirs would be lower than mine's. Now, unless they were telling them, hey, you need to go to special ed too. I don't know. But I remember being insulted by that because it was like, it's not that I'm dumb. It's just that I have no interest in whatever you guys are teaching me. And I've heard that multiple times from teachers. Even the principal, like I told you, the principal told me, he's like, I like you. After I told him that, he said, I like you. He said, you're very smart. He said, you just like can't be doing certain things. You know, you just can't be doing that. And I was like, I remember everybody telling me this principal's so mean, he yells at everybody. And I'd be like, I'll be damned if he yell at me. Nobody's going to yell at me. I'll walk out. I'll just leave. I'm not going to sit there and let another man yell at me if he's not my dad. I'll leave. So when I went in there, I went prep. Like, these motherfuckers going to yell at me, like, be sharp. And he didn't. He's just like, what's up with you? Why are you walking in the rain? And I'm like,
why you come tell me something I didn't even know?
That's what he was. That's what he was
You
saying.
just came told on yourself. I didn't even know nothing.
I know. But I was like, because I figured when you beat them, you know, whatever. But
it seems like whenever you go into an office, whether it's work, like at work, or if you're in school, my attitude always was like the same way. You got to prep yourself for anything. Like every time, like work-wise, if they call me into the office, I go in there with the mentality, this is my last day. Right now, depending on what they say, depending on what comes out of their mouth or the situation that ends up unfolding, it can either be my last day or I can die.
Yeah, because people view these people as authority. I don't view them as authority over me. That's my mom. That's my dad. Other people, I don't view them as authority over me. And when I think about it now, like, everything's kind of funny now when I look back at it. But like when I left high school, I think I was treated badly, basically. And I think it was unlawful, maybe, because when I was going to Central, they had told me that I had time to catch up to get my grades up so I can graduate. My counselor was like, if you start now, you can make it. So that gave me hope. I'm like, all right. So I started doing better. I started doing better in classes, and my grades were slowly going up. And all of a sudden, when summer came around, I got a letter in the mail and they kicked my ass out. I don't think you could kick a kid out of school. Where am I supposed to go? Huh? They kicked me out. And the reason was because they needed more room for seniors. I mean, more room for freshmen. So they kicked my ass out. And that's when I was forced to go to adult school because I went to like 8 different schools and they all rejected me. Even a Catholic school. Shame on you. Shame on them motherfuckers. That's like crazy now, especially now. You're supposed to welcome people, right? Like the whole thing, you're Catholic, bro. Welcoming the sinners and hope that you can have an impact in their life and change them. And I remember I told them, why can't I go in? And he said, because you have a bad history. What is this like? This is school, bro. This isn't a job.
Yeah, but the whole thing about like religion is the people who have bad history to fucking
change. You would say, oh yeah, you're the perfect person. We'll give you 6 months, and I mean, if you're doing things you're not supposed to, we're gonna kick you out. But no, I remember I told him, hey, I remember I said, it's crazy the way I think how I used to talk to him. I remember I told him, if you give me a chance, like, I'll show you. But they still told me no. Even a Catholic school rejected me.
They probably heard that, and they probably heard one of your mixtapes where you're like,
I didn't have any evidence back then.
Oh, because I remember listening to
I'm that type.
Right. It was at work today. It said something about like, put your wife and your kids in my trunk or something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, what song was that?
I forgot.
Yes, I'm that type. Yeah. But I remember they took me to
and I'm like, damn, I was listening to it and I was, because it said, put your wife and your kids in my trunk at night or something like that. And I was like, this guy's a Christian now. Not back then.
Yeah, that was on that type. Because I said, I'm the type to roll up to your house. What'd I say? I'm the type to roll up to your house, roll up in your life, take your kids and your wife, and squeeze them in my trunk at night. Was it that?
Yeah, something like that.
That's what I said.
And I was like, damn, this dude's a Christian now.
But I think like when they kicked me out of there, I was forced to go into adult school. And then adult school, I transferred to another school, went there for a day. I don't like it here. So I ended up leaving because they got out at 5. What school goes out at 5? You get in at 9.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is tight. But at the afternoon, I'm like, never again. One day. And I didn't even know. I remember it was 3 o'clock and I was in class. And I didn't even know what time we leave. And I told some random kid, hey, what time we leave? Like, what time we get out of here? He said, we don't get out of here till 5. And it was 3. You still have another class. I'm like, damn, like, I can't do this every day.
You left early?
No, I just stuffed it out till 5 o'clock. And then I was like, I'm never coming back. And then I went back to adult school and they were like, oh, you want to come back? That's a process, whatever. So in the meanwhile, I was not in school for like a month. And then they sent me a letter from the school over here saying, you can never come back to the premises. If you do, you will be arrested. What did I do? Like, I just didn't go no more. How can you threaten me like that? Another school threatening me. And then I went back to adult school, who is the only one who accepted me. I give them that and wanted me there. Truly were trying to help me in everything. So I give them props that they were helping me in everything. But the whole class was meaningless. They would give me packets and another packet to answer the questions from the first packet. And then I remember in the beginning, I would try to do it. But later on, I'm like, there's no purpose to this. So I was like, it's over. Like, I have no interest in this or nothing. So I would just whip out my notebook and just write songs all day. And be excited about that and wanting to come home. Because I'm like, I wrote 3 songs today. I can't wait to go home to record how they sound like. And I would just walk out of class. I walked just same as the other one. I guess like I'm not painting the picture of I'm innocent. I was like a bad kid. I would walk out of class, things like that, whatever. And I walked out of class. I remember because we were making M&M trucks with gingerbread and stuff like that. And I just left. And that was the straw that ended everything. And I came home. And I told my mom, don't wake me up tomorrow. I'm not going to school no more. And that ended up hella crazy. But my mom yelling at me daily. So I'm going to call the cops. Call them. I'm done. Like I was done.
I remember you called me early for the Mac and all. Or
What
whatever.
did you think about that? When it was official, like Memphis not going to school no more. Well, because I never asked you.
I just remember Mom being really mad.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, what did you think about that?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, that was his decision. He didn't want to go no more.
Oh.
Like he wasn't doing shit anyways.
Hmm.
Like there was no like. I knew I don't know. I thought maybe he was gonna change. Like maybe there's gonna be like a thing for like a week and then you're gonna go back. But I'm like, and I wasn't like, oh shit, like he's gonna ruin his life.
No.
Because I don't think high school was never really that important.
Not
I think
in the
like
day that
I think the only thing that is like beneficial about the education system we have here is basically just math.
Yeah, math.
Math is the only subject,
And I'm trash at math.
It's the only subject that's actually worth paying attention to because you use it every day.
They would tell me, my math teacher would say, hey, you don't say you heard this from me, but if you're going to pay attention to any class in high school, it's this one.
Yeah, because none of the other ones matter.
He like shitted on all of them. He's like, all of them don't mean nothing. Like,
yeah, they're shit.
History,
social
like,
studies,
stuff
history,
like you're never going to use that stuff in your
nobody
daily life.
cares.
Math, he said you use it every day.
Yeah.
So
math is the only thing that's important.
But math was hard for me. Put the what do they call it?
No, I think
the thing like this, and then the number on the top.
Yeah,
and stuff
what's
like
the
that.
root square?
And then
or
you
whatever.
start introducing symbols and shit that
and fucking,
I don't even know.
Then you go into like a lot of like octagon and fucking triangles.
I never got
all.
that far.
Yeah.
That's like algebra 2 or something. I was in pre-algebra.
The only thing that matters on math is just your multiplication and division. If you know what 20% of whatever is. And I think the only reason why it gets hard is because you just don't understand the method to make it easy. It was never taught to you. And I don't know what it is about my head when I look at numbers and I don't know it exactly, but I can get pretty close based on just you cheat when you do like, I don't know what my head is like. If I see 36 times 6, I first do 6. My head naturally does 6 times 3, right? You get 18, and then I'm like, okay, that's $180 right there, just right there alone. And then 6 times, then you do 6 times 6, 36. Then you're at 216. But you got to do it. You got to divide all that shit in your head or multiply it in your head.
You just try to get a good like close number.
A close number, so I get like that, just off, so I can do it within a few seconds. I know close roughly, like that's how my brain works. But the only reason why I learned those habits to do that shit real quick was because of my math teacher, who taught me like this is how to cheat. Because nobody wants to sit there and actually write the shit out. You got to be able to cheat certain shit, and when you can cheat it, it makes math easier. So it makes it it doesn't make it as annoying to learn.
Yeah, but when I think about it, I think that like it wasn't that a good teacher will find a way to teach you. So it's not necessarily all my fault that I didn't know how I wasn't good at math. I think that reflects on the teacher, right? If you're teaching a motherfucker, if you're specialized on the safety course of driving motorcycles, it's your job to make me a good driver. All right? A good rider. So when I don't, you should think of like, am I doing something wrong? But a lot of people don't do that. Teachers always put more attention to the A student than the E student. That makes no sense. Like Jesus said, why would you help the people that are healthy, that are righteous? The sinners need me. You guys are straight already. It's like same thing in school. When you go to the girl who's got A's, why would you focus on them? They're going to pass regardless. Focus on me. Now, if I shove you away, that's different. But none of that. So I think the school system failed me. It definitely failed me. And that's why I'm a psycho.
Murderer? That's why you wanted to put kids
That's
in.
why I wrote those rhymes.
Yeah,
because of them. I remember that like one of the last like times I was in class, my teacher had a book, like a bookshelf. and she would let us go up to it and pick a random book and read it. And she had a rhyme book. And I remember I was like, hell yeah, there's a rhyme book? I write songs, so I right away got it. And I was reading through it like in class, just reading what rhymes, whatever. Just reading. And I was like, this can be useful. And I was like, I'm going to steal this shit. I'm going to steal this shit. I put it in my backpack and I kept it.
You still got it?
I don't have it anymore. I don't know. Maybe I do have it somewhere, tucked somewhere. But I remember I took it. So when I said in my songs, I used to read rhyme books. That's not a lie. I would sit there and just read rhymes. Like, what rhymes with this? What rhymes with star? What rhymes with this? Not just car and stuff like that. I would go all the way down. Like, how do you okay. I'm going to use that like that. That's how I would do it.
I'm going to steal this book. It's mine now.
It's the only book I found interesting on that shelf. And I just took it. And I remember it had her name on it. I was just going to think.
If you would have told her, can I, was she cool? If you would have been like, hey, can I keep this
maybe she would have gave it to me.
Can I keep this for like a long?
But then she would say, why such an interest in rhyme books? Whatever. Then I had to explain myself. I remember in high school, there was 2 kids who were rappers. One of them was me. And the other kid was a white kid. As white as you can get. Like a white dude who like embraced the culture, who would dress it but didn't fit it. Like he would dress it, but you didn't have like the formula right. Like you would wear super baggy. It just didn't look good, right? But whatever. Who cares about that? Like, so people would always make fun of him. But he was confident in a motherfucker. And he would write just like me. And he would show me at the end of class like what he would write. And I would always tell him that's tight. Like, that's hella tight. And people would make fun of him. They would befriend him. They would act like they're cool with him. Only so he can spit for them. And at the end of the class, he would sit. They would tell him, hey, rhyme, whatever. And this fool would get up. Confident as fuck. And he would get up and he would start rhyming after class in the classroom in front of the teacher and everything. The teacher was cool with it. He didn't say nothing. It was after class. Like, it wasn't after class. It was like 5 minutes before class ended. So she didn't care, like, have fun, whatever. So he was, and everybody would gather around him and they would just let him, but they were letting them to laugh at him, not to fuck with him. They were just letting, and he didn't give a fuck. He would rhyme. And I remember he was like, we should battle. He would tell me we should battle. And then he would just say, nah, I'm just fucking around, whatever. Because he heard my shit. At that time, I had dropped on that type, the first one. And the first one got a little motion. It had a couple hundred views. I don't know if you remember. That people in school came up to me. I didn't know how that shit got around. And at that time, I didn't put my face up, nothing like that. It was word of mouth. Like, people must have heard.
Freaking, you don't remember his name?
No, I don't remember his name, but I feel like I was the only real person that, like, because I know what it felt like. So I'm like, keep rhyming, like, keep doing your shit. I'm like, but one thing you need to do is start recording. I told him, I'm recording. At that time, I was recording already. That's the early stages before early 16. Early 16s. I had like, you don't remember that, like, I'm That Type, Life in the Sea. Remember those songs? Like, you remember how they sounded? Yeah?
Yeah.
They're like, that's back then. So it was tight. And a lot of those songs, I don't have them anymore. They got lost on a hard drive.
There's a lot of songs that probably got lost, huh?
Yeah, I have so many songs. If you look at the ones that made it, like, imagine how many don't make it. It's a lot. But I wonder where that kid's at now.
I was supposed to tell you look him up on Facebook because
I don't know his name. Yeah, I wish I could. I want to hear a song from him. I never got to hear a song from him. He heard my shit, and he's like, fuck with it.
Yeah, that's why I was curious to see what he's doing now, or where he's at. Because I remember, I'm sure if you message him and told him, hey, spit me a rhyme real quick, he'd probably do it.
Well, who knows? Who knows, like, where he's at?
He's still pissed. You don't think he spit you even right now?
A lot of people quit.
Yeah, but you don't think...
Everybody who raps doesn't rap no more. It doesn't rap no more. Who? Name one. Nobody. And when I say rap, you have to have at least a song in a year. So technically right now, I'm getting close to not fitting that category. But I'm coming, so it don't matter.
But you mean a release song?
Let's not say a year. Let's say 2 years.
But you're saying a release song.
Yeah.
Who made a song or released a song?
All the rappers that I heard about coming up, because I remember when we were early stages, early 16s, there was multiple rappers in Bay City. There was multiple rappers in here in Saginaw. People who lived here who rap, like, and there was a couple of people there was a dude, I don't remember his name, but he got noticed and acknowledged by a newspaper. I don't know what he did, but he got acknowledged by a newspaper. And everybody was like, yep, he's the one. He's the one that's going to make it. And he quit. It's hard to keep rapping. The more older you get, it's hard to keep rapping. It's hard to keep raising the bar. It's hard to continue innovating and stay creative. It's hella hard. That's why people quit.
And then not get paid.
Shit, I want to quit. Sometimes
I think they're not getting paid for it. Because people got to work. People still got to work. And then people don't have that much money to be investing into equipment, into themselves and all that. So it's like...
But it's really not that much, though. You have enough to buy a TV.
How much money for equipment? For like decent quality-wise? Including software to mix and master and all that shit. Because how much time you spend mixing and mastering too, though? And if you're not willing to do that, that's another expense.
You got to be willing. You got to be more than a rapper nowadays. Thank you for listening to the AB podcast. You can follow us in the links below. All our social medias are linked there. If you want to buy some merch, the merch that we're usually wearing in the podcast, you can buy it as well. The link will be below.